Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you whatever this shit is. Oh boy, this will be a wild ride. Hello everyone, this is Penguin Boy with another episode of Gacha Critic. This is gonna be a wild one, cause in this episode, we're gonna take a look at a channel known as NinjaTubers, aka NinjaTubers New Chapter, aka NinjaTubers BTS, or better known as Mariana or Undertales. Yeesh, you can't decide on one name for your channels. And yes, she owns these free channels that I mentioned, and all of them share a thing or two, which is mashed crossovers and attention-seeking practices. You might be disappointed that we're not going to cover deep into her controversial events, but I'll mention a few key details later on, so you're at least aware. We're mostly going to focus on her content and give out some good old criticism, as we'll go through 3 different series she made. And not to worry, I may have not watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Sonic Prime. I've done my research to see where this is going. As always, here are the categories. There's 4 of them actually. First, we'll have an overview of the channel, to know a bit about the content, and then we'll cover some series that I feel like it could be worth talking about, such as Mary Prime, NinjaTubers New Chapter, then we have a small intermission, and NinjaTubers 2.0. There's a few things to cover here, so timestamps are ready if you have an interest in one of my inputs. With that said, let's get started. So, like I previously mentioned, she owns 3 channels, being her main one, the New Chapter one, and the BTS one. I guess the sole reason why there are 3 of these channels is that whenever her main channel gets a strike, she can't do anything on there and moves to a different channel. That's quite a tactic here for someone who harasses her ex-friends. And yes, she does attack people who are former friends of her. Check out this video in the description. Even though it's old, it's worth mentioning. Now for her videos, she mostly uses Gacha Club to make them. And about what exactly? Well, there's Sonic the Hedgehog, the Ninja Turtles, Undertale, Poppy Playtime, Steven Universe, Has-Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, Astro Boy for some reason, a tiny sliver of Mario, and just, well, videos around her and friends going on zany adventures. And it's not exactly an action series since there isn't a lot of fighting going on, and it's mostly just talking back and forth each other, which kind of makes it more like a college drama play. Coming from someone who's in drama lessons in school. And boy, does she do a lot of ships in these. Even ones where it makes me question my sanity. These ships will be mentioned later on, and that's just a taste of what her content is. The icing will be the series we'll go through. The crossovers, on the other hand, doesn't exactly make sense, even though Mary does have some sort of lore at work. It comes to a point where I'd rather learn the lore of Kingdom Hearts, Kirby, or even Puyo Puyo and its main game, Mado Monogatari. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste more of your time. Let's actually get through these series. End my suffering. Let's start the second category with our favorite blue speedster, Sonic. And in 2022, Netflix and SEGA went on to create Sonic Prime, a series that focuses on the multiverse rage. Like, what would Sonic's friends look like in alternate universes? And apparently Jacksepticeye is in this.
Take them for everything they've got.
Boy, I do love messing with this bunch.
Nothing beats sticking it to our old...
This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life!
Multiverses in movies and games in general were popping off in the 2020s, and that series ain't no exception. It has a few references to the games, as well as capturing Sonic's character quite nicely. So when NinjaTubers came into the idea to do a retelling of the series with Mary Prime,
this is where the trouble begins. See, when I mentioned these game series in the first category, she's not shy in putting some random characters that have nothing to do with Sonic or Sega in general. Like, there's the Friday Night Funkin' and Pika Schoolboys here, as well as 2 Shredders? Yeah, apparently there are 2 Shredders, one by her and the other by another guy named SG Garcia. Then you have My Little Pony and Wander Over Yonder? Ah, that episode was made by a different person. Okay. Now, about the series itself. The first episode has Mary just being in New York City, where she meets alternate versions of Napstablook, the Nightmare Team's Joseph, and then there's 9, who's basically Tails, just different. The rest is just Sonic Prime, with a few audio cut-ins so the Sonic characters can have their original dialogue, while the rest gets their own dialogue with voices and everything. But like, come on, there's not much originality here. It's just a retelling of Sonic Prime, but with OCs and online friends having their own roles and such. It's like one of those videos you'd find in the Pooh's Adventures or Adventure Team communities. There's no rhyme or reason. Eventually, she ends up in Boss Cage Maze, with a scene that's kind of ripped off of Tarzan, which is only there for 4 short episodes, with the last appearance being there for like 5 seconds. Yes, her episodes is known to be very short, so there's very little room to think over what happened and what you think will happen, nor even get to know more about the characters and the shadow spaces, considering that Sonic Prime's runtime is around 22 minutes, if we split the first episode in 2. Now, Note Place is where the series takes the cake, cause, I don't know, maybe she likes pirates a little too much. There, she falls in love, one gets a perverted mind, pirate versions of indie game characters, mer creatures, and then Mary meets Luna, and gets her ass kicked.
Home doesn't exist anymore because of you!
Now, I can already see the potential spoilers here, cause I know the Sonic and Shadow in this retelling. Mary is the Sonic, and Luna is the Shadow. So if there would be a Mary Prime Season 2, I'd be spoiled, cause I want to watch Sonic Prime in Norwegian. Now, just gonna use profanity for a moment in Norwegian. Now, you might be asking right now, why does the character designs and editing keep on changing? Well, that's because she allows her friends to contribute to the series with their own episodes. So it's like a large collab of short episodes. And usually they don't add up to its lore, but Napstablook, Norslayer, and the Nightmare Team, on the other hand, knows what's gonna happen. There are times where it does fall to this type of episode from contributors, whether it actually be for lore reasons, or just to make an episode for the hell of it, which makes it incredibly confusing for people who want to understand that lore. Like episode 19 of the series. Unfortunately, the original isn't there, but I luckily did a re-edit of the series, just for fun. So, I can show you the re-edited version.
Well, you see, I'm not the only one. Come on out, you two! Mary, I'd like you to meet my other sisters, Kale and Karma. So, sisters finally reunited again, eh? You sure are correct, Kale.
Since when did this gal manage to keep her true self while having 3 other versions of behind her? Have you not seen Sonic Prime? Everyone except Sonic and Shadow got split into different versions due to the Paradox Prism getting obliterated into smithereens! And then you have episode 25, which is basically episode 23 and 26 combined, because of how I can easily spot, the copy. Except for the fact that Wonder and Pinkie Pie just, switch places. And then here we have her shipping herself with Chip from Disney's Chip and Dale. Signs of zoophilia, I can tell you that. And I'd like to say something about episode 27.
Go with. I thought 3, 2, 1.
Now, instead of having a rap battle, have a Puyo Puyo battle instead. And I'd be more interested.
Here we go! Stand attack! Counter attack!
Anyways, I have nothing more about Mary Prime. There is something going on in the series, but it's not executed that well. So I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. There's not much originality to it. I mean, you could make scenes that are inspired by other media without having to rely on specific media to do the lore for you. With that said, let's move to the next series. Now this is where the fun begins. Ninja Troopers formerly used audio from Steven Universe because maybe Blook and Mary loves the show, including its future installment? I don't know.
You remember how Mom shattered Pink Diamond? Well, I was just wondering if maybe you shattered Pink Diamond.
Oh, my dude, you just got pranked. Bet you didn't see that one coming, huh?
But with a remake on the way, I can only imagine she'll focus more on Ninja Turtles and Sonic the Hedgehog. And speaking of the Ninja Turtles, this series takes a different approach with them. Well, it takes place after the events of the original Ninja Turtles, with all the turtles having one more animal mutation for some odd reason. Leonardo is a wolf turtle, Raphael is a cat turtle with Puss in Boots' outfit, I guess.
Turtle Cat.
Donatello is a tiger turtle, and Michelangelo being a hedgehog turtle. I can kind of see the different media she's trying to reference, so I'm gonna guess here. And not sure about these two, but that's Puss in Boots, and that's Sonic the Hedgehog. I might have missed, but who cares? Let's move on. For this timeline, Master Splinter is dead, and the turtles have grown up to be with their loved ones, which are humans and an angel. Leo, on the other hand, develops a crush on Karai. Sorry, SG's Karai, which is totally different from the real Karai. And over the span of 10 episodes, the audio comes from a good amount of animated media, such as a Romeo and Juliet movie I have no context for.
Juliet! This is fantastic! Is it? It's doomed! What?
Ice Age Continental Drift.
Kitty.
If you two lovebirds kiss, I'm gonna fangirl scream right now.
Husband Hotel. And 2012's TMNT.
Karai, remember us. We want to help you.
Again, I'm gonna complain. It's not ideal to use other media to tell some sort of lore of your own crossover fanfiction. Unless the crossover is done right, if it kinda like takes place in the canon episodes. And plus, how did Lute and Vaggie even get to Earth? They're basically afterlife forms of hell, which is what Hazbin Hotel is all about. Hell's princess trying to convince heaven that people can redeem themselves by using a hotel. And also, why does Leo X Karai even exist? I know it's a different version of Karai, but the thing here is that she mostly uses audio from 2012's TMNT, and that series depicts Leo and Karai as siblings. You almost flew too close to the sun with incest. I get it, again, it's a different version, but why bother doing that ship? And you want to extend that ship by making a parody of the Hazbin Hotel 50K incident being Hideaway. Yes, this is real. This is another level of gacha heat, and you know how much we detest that. And there's Raph being shipped with Lute. I thought there was something between Raph and Mona Lisa. I guess it depends on the iteration, but my point still stands. I really don't know how the romance works in TMNT, but if you want to pair people up, have them be more platonic than romantical. I'd do that instead of going for the perverter route, considering the fact that the Gacha-like games are made for kids. But if you do want to pair them up romantically, don't make them give birth to a child. That would be incredibly gross. She also casually uses a clip from Hazbin Hotel to do the Vaggie vs. Lute fight. That was lazy. Again, I'd be more interested if it was a Puyo Puyo battle, but I digress. There isn't much to talk about because all the episodes are so short. so trying to come up with a lengthy explanation to cover the series a bit more is difficult. Other than it takes place after the events of the original, everyone's grown up, and Leo's desperate for love. So I better leave it there with a 2 out of 10. Now that I think about it, she did do a retelling of 2012's TMNT and Sonic Prime in some way or form. So what's her next retelling? I don't know, something like Ninja Tuber's The Fracture But Whole?
New rule, any damage I take goes to the coon. What? Ah, status effects too. What the hell?
I do have a thing we can discuss during this intermission. We can cover some of her past controversies that are on the tip of the iceberg. Sure, it may be old news, but I think it's worth mentioning anyways. Remember the screenshot that I showed you from this video? I'd like to show a few more clips that I think it's worth showing. She's not exactly the innocent type in this video's screenshots, and the evidence there is proof of that. You can check the full video when you're done with this one though. There's no need to rush. Anyways, let's do this.
As you can see by the screenshots I'm showing you, she has faked her death a lot of times.
At first, I thought she was pretending to have those life support cords, but it looks like she wants to remove the air she breathes in and out from her throat with headphone cords. And apparently in this post, her sister writes this, even though she never mentioned that she had a sister, and that she also faked being in a coma. And to add salt to the non-existent wound, all of this is somehow a prank that was inspired by Darman for some reason. Excuse me? This is nothing to laugh at. You're just doing it to gain attention and sympathy. It's not exactly a laughing matter if you take it so seriously that you later just reveal it was a joke. Another tactic she uses is pretending to quit YouTube, as well as lying and guilt-tripping other people who were simply criticizing her for her actions. Sounds like she's got some passive aggression inside. And like I mentioned in the beginning, she harasses her ex-friends. It also happens to be that she's also doing some suggestive roleplays. Like, aren't you aware that you're probably doing this to young people younger than you? And yes, she's young herself, but my point still stands. Whether you're young yourself or the other person is young, it's not a good idea to indulge in suggestive roleplay. And here we have this little speech of hers, which addresses a few things, like how a few of her friends left her because of alleged manipulation from someone else, and mentioned William Berryhill's justified diss tracks.
He's just a monster from hell. Tron is just a stupid monster from hell. He made me lose everyone I know.
If you listen closely, you can hear that she's in a Discord call with someone else while she speaks.
He made me lose everyone I know.
It's like she wants to make it easy for her to talk about it, but if you're making a video like this, you gotta speak directly to the audience and not let anyone or anything else distract you from speaking.
When I told them that I was talking to Tron, that was stupid of me to talk to Tron because Tron was just a monster. He manipulated me.
Oh, did he? I kind of find that hard to believe because I don't see any evidence regarding the manipulation.
And I'm not talking about the other William. I'm talking about William Berryhill. Remember? The guy who made diss tracks about me and Lillian the Hatter?
He has a reason to make these diss tracks on you, and that is to criticize your actions. Now, of course, she does take her moment to talk about the situation that we want to hear, but then she decided to take a different route by telling her life story.
There was a real story about my mom passing away. You see, it started when I was...
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Look, bringing up something that happened in your family isn't the way to justify your actions. That's not the theme of your speech. So you gotta stay consistent with the problem you want to address.
You can kind of say that she doesn't like change in general. And, you know, that's just a part of life. Things change all around, either for better or for worse. And all we can do is accept it. There's something about her universe that really bugs my mind. How does Queen Alina even went from her home planet Mobius all the way to Earth to New York, USA, so that other parents can adopt Mary? Is there like a gateway to dimensions? Was it merged from the beginning? Or somehow these two worlds managed to meet up and interact with each other while not knowing the collateral damage that Queen Alina and Dr. Tenma from Astro Boy did? At this rate, they're not even aware that the dimensional merge is happening.
What the frick is going on?
Oh. Didn't know that happened right now. I better check on the crash site.
Whoa.
Whoa. Another me? Whoa! There's another me, but smaller. Aye! Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm much more capable. Sorry. It's cool. And it seems that you've got a team with ya. Like another Rebecca, the Mario Brothers, Tangle the Lemur, and Arl. Yep. That's how we roll. It's unusual to team up with these guys, but we're essentially fighting fire with fire. How so? Who were you up against? Well, we were up against a girl named Mary, and she has her own team of people too, which happened to be a demon, a sentient doll, among many others. Mary. Is she with the Ninja Turtles by any chance? Yes. It's simple, Luigi. I was just making a video about her. But I didn't know it would be this serious if there's a big old crack in the sky. Right. Me and Rebecca were tasked in separating all the worlds that are merged with hers. We did all we could to warn her about it, but that stubborn armor of hers made it a bit difficult. Whoa. How do you know all that? That makes sense. Though, why would Mary be your target? Well, if you think about it, the shredder that rebuilt it, not sure how he did, was about to open new worlds, but it was Mary's attempt that made it explode when she got knocked into it. It could possibly be that Jalen dude who pushed her. So that means that not only was it the Shredder's doing for rebuilding the Super Collider, it was technically her fault that she was unknowingly knocked into it, thus making the worlds merged?
Yeah. She's the reason our worlds merged together.
Yikes. So, since you're here, I take it that you lost a battle against them? Yep. Embarrassingly enough.
I know we have to get stronger. It's just easier said than done.
It seems like they're in quite a pickle, and the fate of each world is at stake. Now, I can't do much since I have that video to finish, but the least I can do is give them some advice. Very good advice. Could y'all pay attention to me for a second? Now, there's a time where you need to get stronger, which is a fine thing to have, but that strength doesn't just come from one single person and do it all alone. In these situations, it just takes a bit of strategy, teamwork, and creative ways to initiate abilities and skills. Like Other Penguin and Other Rebecca,
don't know much about you two, but you have been chosen to hold these powers, and there's things you can do that normally can't be done alone. You two have a bond that's difficult to separate. Mario and Luigi. With such a strong brotherly bond, you managed to overcome what seems impossible. You've done so much for a lot of people, and that's enough reason to keep fighting for what you think it's right. Tangle, you have this sort of uniqueness with your tail that can benefit you and others in battle, while having a similar spirit like Sonic. And Arl, with your magic and ways to initiate Puyo Puyo battles, you can use that as a distraction or as a powerful tool to overwhelm your opponent. Ha! See where I'm getting at, peeps? You're right. We all can overcome the impossible by combining our skills and work together. We have been brought to these worlds for a reason, and we'll show them the true power of teamwork. Right, everyone?
Oh yeah!
Why don't y'all head over to the cafe down the street? You should fill your stomachs and plan out your next move. Good idea. Come on, folks, let's save our worlds!
Let's go!
Ready to give it another shot!
Thank you so much, other me. Just call me Chibi Penguin. Oh, and if you see Chibi Rebecca, tell her I said hi. Will do. I'm sure they'll handle it. The worlds are in good hands when they're involved. Though, is there something I can do to help out? That's right! Finish the video! Alright, we're down to the last series, so we're almost done. For Ninja Troopers 2.0, this series introduces a new team of heroes. And let's just say they're like the next generation of the Ninja Turtles, which consists of Larson, Michael, Molly, and Jesse. All of them have similar attributes as the original, but here's the catch. They have superpowers. With Larson being electricity based, Michael having super strength, Molly being able to turn invisible, and Jesse having super speed. That's a neat idea, I'll give her that. Actually, this is SG's idea. I can kinda tell by the character design. Them huge eye pupils.
And stop staring at me with them big old eyes!
So, 2.0 is essentially an origin story on how the new Turtles became the heroes that dwell in the sewers. And it so happens to be the most creative these people have been, which is something I can at least give credit for. But it still has its issues. Now, the plot of the series revolves around the Super Collider, a little machine from the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies, which is used to open new worlds, and for some reason, the Shredder built it again to conjure up his new plan. While not only do we get most of the focus on the new Turtles, Leo can be seen having some interesting dreams and flashbacks. And interesting is something I refer loosely here. Cause in one of his dreams, he dreamt of the time Maleficent, yes, that Maleficent, puts the curse on him as well as Mary. Okay, what does Nickelodeon have anything to do with Disney? Nothing. I don't know if she's desperately trying to make it look like Kingdom Hearts or any other crossover movie, but I guess Disney villains are a part of this. Oh, and there's a human version of Leo. Damn it! It's not the actual painter. Or the actor. Some of the later scenes, especially with the new Turtles, are at least based or inspired from other series and movies, like TMNT Mutant Mayhem, with other references and songs from other movies like Wicked and Shrek. Oh wait, she uses a clip from the original movie. I've seen that somewhere. But hey, look at this! Episode 18 is 10 minutes long. I bet it has some important lore, only to have it wasted by a 3-minute song right after the 1-minute intro. But it seems that Gaster from an Undertale fan comic is a part of this, including his audio cut-ins.
I have made you strong. I have looked after you. And this is how you repay.
This is yet another series that she allows people to contribute to. And that led to some episodes that, let's just say, doesn't fit well. Like, 1 minute, some random girl I have no context for goes on a quest to find Mary, only to let herself get frickin' evil-natured by 2 queens with audio from Phineas and Ferb's Star Wars.
So, like I said, I'm going to make myself super evil with my Sithinator here, but first, I'm gonna shoot you.
See where I'm going with this? It just makes no sense. And I think they're trying their best card won't do any justice. It's like they just want to do an episode without actually knowing what the hell is going on. It's like she doesn't have the time to give out in context and gives them tips on what can happen to make the lore less confusing. Because, what the hell? One moment, there's a Nightmare Queen next to Rosemary, and in episode 20, she's by her lonesome on a throne. Wait a minute, I think I know what happened.
Yahoo! Mario? Yahoo! With guns! So against Mario!
At least have some decency to plan out what can work. Like, hit up a call on Discord or something. Speaking of episode 20, this includes some few Undertale characters with memories from an alternate universe. Though, I don't remember Master Splinter being right next to Papyrus. Now, I would extend my voice range to do a joke, but I'm not here to waste your time. We're almost done with this chaos. I do like to mention that 2.0 takes place after the events of Ninja Tuber's new chapter. And to further prove this point, the 10-minute long episode has Serpent Karai from the 10th episode of New Chapter. Other than these new characters appearing out of nowhere, we get to see Jalen Creeper over here find Queen Rosemary with a Springtrap suit, entering some sort of cave and offers a mysterious entity the suit as a gift. And hey, look over here. There's some increase in production quality, some big animation budget moment here. Watch this.
Good work, good work.
There's actual animation of the entity, and the Gacha characters' movement goes pretty well with it. That's something I can give credit for. You know, taking their time to animate a few frames of an entity we might learn about. If her channels survive, of course. And if her episodes can be at least 22 minutes long, or maybe even longer if she so desires. But 22 minutes is a common length for an episode, but for a series like this, maybe 15 minutes or more. I'd also like to mention that this is a dark version of the Lion King's Scar, named Dakar. Dakar?
Taka?
Yeah, I even have a hard time pronouncing his name. You just replace the first letter with a different one to make sure it's a twisted version. Kinda like Mario with Wario, where they replace the M with a W. Though it makes more sense since the W is an upside down M. The rest is just self-explanatory. And apparently in episode 23, Splinter makes an appearance there. Wait, what? I thought he was dead! And why is there another OC? Though that character is named Eleonora, who is created by Ocean Dancer, who also does Ninja Turtles content. That actually makes sense. Plus, she makes the 2012 version much better since the original 2012 suffers from bad writing, especially with its romance and April being insufferable. But again, why is Splinter there? Well, with more research, the dead Splinter is Mary Splinter, whilst the alive Splinter is SG's Splinter. So essentially, there's 2 versions of Splinter and the Shredder. You got me confused there for a second. Though, I can't say much for Papyrus though, since the total crossover trailer depicts the lanky skeleton completely destroyed. So, I have a hard time figuring out that if Sans has memories of this character, which is named Betty Noir, killing his brother, why the hell is he standing next to the alive Splinter in the same room as him and Mary? Dude, do you want to make your lore more sense, or make it as confusing as Kingdom Hearts?
Other than the slight improvement of production quality, I have nothing else to add. The idea is good, though the execution could have been better if it was just about the Ninja Turtles, not with some girl who was given birth by Moby and having wrestling with a human scientist. Yes, that was revealed in the trailer for the remake. And that is Zoophilia. So yeah, her universe is complete whack anyways, and I'll give this series a 3 out of 10. Oh, and it so happens to be that she has a new channel. And there's music?
We'll transform! Ninja Tubers never gives up. Rise again when the road gets tough. Through the shadows, through the fights, we burn our power shining bright.
Those are some corny lyrics, to be honest. And I can already guess that she used Suno.ai to make it and claim it as her own song. Why don't you take some music lessons and, I don't know, use GarageBand to make an original song? You can't just rely on AI to do the work all the freaking time, just like how you can't just rely on other media to do your fanfiction lore. And that was everything. Kinda crazy how she can come up with one hell of a crossover whilst being a rather emotional person at the same time, whether it's an act or not. I don't know if my criticism reaches out to her, but I can give her some pointers. 1. Having a Mobian and a human make out to produce your OC isn't a good plot detail. It's just zoophilia. 2. You gotta have quality over quantity. Take your time to make the episode without having to be short with a 1-minute intro to waste the viewer's time. 3. If people want to contribute to the series, then contact them about the context and they'll know what they can add. At least have that decency to give them the context. And 4. Take criticism at hand and improve not only your content but also your behavior. People would be a jerk to you if you're a jerk to them. It's basically fighting fire with fire. And as a side note, having your friends attack others who are just criticizing you is immature. They're not your personal bodyguards. And again, it's criticism, not cyberbullying. That can apply to anyone, not just her. This episode took me a while to make, and I've honestly been absent from it, but I hope you all enjoyed it anyways. And if there's any info I may have missed, you can always write a comment about it, and I'll be more than happy to answer. And with that, this concludes Gacha Critic for now. Thanks for watching, and be sure to take care. See ya!
You think you are ready to face me?
Super Luigi Galaxy!